Well, hello, everybody. I hope everyone's having a wonderful eclipse transition. I know for myself it has been quite an interesting journey. One part at sometimes very chaotic, stressful, definitely micro purges that felt very big. Waves of emotion hitting the field, and definitely pockets of stress that having to work through. And a part of that is like really getting honest with some of the inner workings, the things that no longer serve, right? We were talking about closing chapters, opening up new ones, etc., etc. And a lot of this has been bringing up a lot for us to work with. Some of it can be complex, some of it can feel like a lot, sometimes it can feel too much to handle at times. Either way, it gives us an opportunity to really kind of go within, accept the now, accept the greater picture, and then create some sort of focused intention for what the future brings. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about the energy of the water dragon. So this is my personal dragonite friend. This is something I actually wasn't going to be sharing with people a whole lot. So I do make dragonite, and this was a very special dragonite friend that came from Pebble Beach in California. I was on a trip with my family, and one way that I connect with the mythos, or I connect with the lineages of my family, is through star galactic origins with my brother, and dragons with my mom and my dad. So we have a dragon lineage that connects with us during family events, and I thought it was really important while I was doing the inner work to collect some of these wonderful pebbles at Pebble Beach, some of these rocks, and build myself a sea serpent, a water dragon. So this is a water dragon with selenite, as the wind is picking up. The air elementals are here, as we have the selenite and a piece of sage in here is kind of like a sacred offering for what the water dragon continues to bring through for us. And so there's been a lot of storylines and narratives in regards to the water dragons that have brought up a lot from within me. A lot of this can stem from, I know in the Nordic regions, right, we're looking at Jormungandr and the smack of the tail. For some, the water dragon has represented Leviathan. I know for myself in this now moment, the water serpent and the water dragon lineages are showing up with a lot of really big emotional support right now for those of us that have gone through the ups and the downs and are paving our way through this eclipse tunnel and through what this passageway brings. The water dragon is bringing in a lot of emotional support here and now. So part of this, it was recent, it was just like pre-eclipse. The energy of Helm of Awe was coming through, which, you know, when we look at, excuse me for pronouncing, if I'm pronouncing this wrong, but Eglishmir, Helm of Awe, which is, you know, part shield, is also part the navigational compass, right? Where we choose to stand in command of our own journey and the way we navigate through the waters and through the oceans of life. And as it came up to the surface, a lot was showing up. Part of this was the wartime narrative and the collective and the war mind, and where we continue to play into what those energies represent, and then there is this sense of the realm of the mystic, the choice of magic and creation, the one that is actually built in the mists, which is a part of what that fog can create. I know fog can kind of represent illusion, but the mist also has this drawing in of a language of spirit, of source, of soul, and the mystos connection, which is a part of this connection to that which is beyond the veil, a connection to the mysteries, and a connection into the space or the realms of magic. It's like that there is as things play out, which is a part of, like, if you get, you know, so endued in the overactive holographic language of the collective, there is something beyond, right? Like a pathway least known or navigated, almost like a fairy portal, that gives us an opportunity to access a point of mysteries, of magic, and of creation that's really important. It's that which sparks curiosity and sparks magic of the inner child, a place where we don't have to get caught up in the design of the matrix or what's going on in those worlds, but rather inspire a space that's a lot more like Avalon, a space that's a lot more loving, magical, I know for us, and one where we're representing ourselves in a space of love, of curiosity, and of health. It's one where we return, we re-invoke, or we reactivate the spirit of the High Priestess, and the High Priestess being a little bit more of that intuitive approach. It feels like, the hyperlogical war mind approach to life can keep us in that strategy of survival mode, constantly in a space of friction, restriction, and or stress. And a lot of this is that as we are becoming more aware, more sensitive, and more expansive in our journey, how we can feel safe and stable in the energies that are coming through for us in our journey, and how we can feel emotionally supported so we can feel like we can get life done. Once again, we look at how we come from a space of surviving and a space to thriving and what it takes to get there. But a lot of this is doing that inner work. And so it was last night that the runes came through and Ing showed itself. And Ing represents itself as water meadow, and we might want to call it the water phoenix. Either way, this is a space of germination. It's a space of the sacral. It is a space of the soul. It's also the space in which new life emerges. So once again, gestation occurs and new life emerges. So a lot of this kind of fauna, soul, soil, and gestation energy that was showing up was where replicated seeds from the past actually invite in and embark and ignite what the new is for us. So it seems like there's a culmination period in which solutions or things of the past come into the now, not because they're loops, not because it's repetition, but it's a space of evolution. It's a space of refinement. It's a space of trying again. It's a space also of new things. So it's almost as if the energetic climate in our journey, when seeded, propagates new life. So while it's same seed or maybe same intention, something within the new energetic climate sprouts something new, whether this is a fractal of consciousness, whether this is, a part of that Fibonacci spiral, which means that we activate other levels. Perhaps this is the energy of threshold, which is that just beyond the threshold activates or propagates something new. Whether we see this as perspective, whether we see this as levels of embodiment, or as we see this as multi-dimensionality, either way, there's a sense of surrender and trust into the unknown so the known can be seen, but also to a part of what's unlocking, a part of this culmination is what the water dragon is bringing through. Some of this is the ancient mysteries, right, from the original orders, right? A part of that being like the mystery schools of Magdalena, where we're learning about Christ consciousness. We're learning about the womb. We're learning about the sacred feminine. We're learning about what the empowerment and the rise of the feminine is. Now, a part of this breakthrough is the feminine fire, right? The bringing of that sacral seat, that bringing that illumination of passion, of ignition, right? That fire that can sometimes bring about things like sacred rage. It can bring up those really big, heftier, heavier emotions, but it's also the way in which we burn through and stand in our purity. It's another level or elemental structure of the dragon, right? The fire phoenix. But now the water dragon's coming in. Water dragon bringing in the energy of the Hydra. It's supportive of that same womb mystery, the joy, the passion, the reconnectivity to ourselves, the feeling safe in our bodies, feeling safe in our digestive tract. A lot of this too is activating what the womb represents and what these kind of birthings of creations have been for us for quite some time. Whether this is an evolutionary cycle that's been going on for decades or centuries, a part of these echoes are the ripples from past and future selves that are igniting from within us opportunity to seed in new ways and to support in new ways. So water dragon showing up today with a lot of emotional support. It's one that gives us receptive to not just where we're at, but it accentuates the availability to feel deeper into the supportive systems to allow you to just flow. Allow that which comes to the surface to flow out. Allow yourself to feel like you can reconnect to the emotionality of what the water dragon represents and the vastness of all that you are. I feel like one level of this understanding our own mystery is activating the eternal voice of reflectivity that the oceanics represent. It's such a vast space. It's a space of expansion. And that was definitely a part of the energies that was coming up for myself pre-eclipse, was allow yourself to expand, allow yourself to heal, give yourself the opportunity to just kind of go through your experience, which meant that allowing what needed to surface so we could overcome, we could struggle less, we could thrive, that we can unlock abundance from within our own journey, but we can also get focused and intentional with the direction of our lives. So as we're navigating the seas, we don't feel so lost. A part of this eclipse for myself has been very much so blackout periods, which is like unable to navigate, not knowing where I'm going, not being able to separate the trees from the forest, very loud moments, physically loud moments, energetically loud moments, vocally just very loud, and very much so seeking respite or silence from within this space, recognizing the loudness was coming from the aspects that were still protector. It was the shadows that were still in place that didn't know how to qualify or properly voice what they were experiencing, because they were there kind of as the protector parts, the one that was keeping out the bad guys. It was getting the trouble away. It was one of those things that was basically trying to create a safe space. And when Ing was activated and this was availability to kind of like really point inward to what was going on emotionally, regardless of what the mind, the thinking, the communication was definitely getting back into what the sea serpent represents, which is not just flow, but it's optimizing our own emotional stability. So as I was reflecting today on the water dragon and what the water dragon was representing, I saw a child on the back of the water dragon. The water dragon showing up as a support tool, showing up as a support network, but showing up as an alignment that was gifting itself the opportunity to feel fully in what the new journey is, what's being represented of the self, but also the creation of stability. And so with that, the water dragon chose up to say hi. And it's funny because there are things within self that we might be hiding, we might be keeping to ourselves. That's a part of our abundance. It's a part of our love. It's a part of our light. It's a part of our sharing. It's a part of our caring. It's a part of who we are that are coming to the forefront. And it's really interesting. I mean, like, you know, at the end of the day, this is just something I created. Why not share it? Well, the thing is that there are things that have been sacred to us, and sacred was kept a secret, and that secret was because it was either something that was meant to not be shared with the world. There might have been a concern that something would have occurred. Perhaps there was fears that were coming to the surface over why we couldn't share what we shared, or, you know, whatever it was. And that part in time, the sacred and the secret needed to be what it was. But a part of this revelation, a part of this new wave is bringing forward that which we want to bring forward. And so even though it might just be silly to bring forward a piece of dragonite that I built, this sacred art, this sacred sense of my own abilities, this sacred truth of the water dragon was something that didn't know that it wanted to show up today until it really showed up. And I could feel in the seat of my soul, I could feel in the seat of my sacral that it was really important to bring this up. A lot of this is being safe, you know, as a man in his womb, as a man feeling safe in his sacral, feeling safe in his fauna, but also feeling safe and sacred in his art of remembering what it is to thrive. Once again, a life outside of struggle, a life outside of worry, a life that is abundant, a life that is supportive, and a life in which that once was alienated comes to the forefront and doesn't have to be separate, siloed, or isolated from. It can actually return back to love. It could return back to Christ. It could return back to light. It could return back to source as the loving and beautiful being that it is. And so water dragon energy coming through today, you know, and supported through Ing and through Lafruma, in regards to this water phoenix coming through, this level of gestation, this level of allowing the process to be what it is, but knowing that something new is emerging from within us, and water dragon playing a role in that. So thank you to the support of the oceanics and to the water worlds for bringing in, you know, opulence, for bringing in flow, for bringing the vastness of our experience, but also this space that requires at times no compass or no direction, but just being. There's a sense of that when we're in the water, we can navigate the water like a journey, like a map, like we're moving somewhere, let's say from point A to point B. But this water is showing up as a shoreline reflection where we're at the shore, toes are in the sand, and we're just one with the oscillations. We're one with the wave. We're one with the current. We're one with the vastness. And we're one with the reflection in that which surfaces for us. So it's really beautiful about The dragon energy in the oceanics right now is a space of internal self-reflection that gives you an opportunity to reclaim your sense of empowerment, to reclaim your direction, to reclaim inspiration, to reclaim the scry, the inner mirror, right? The reflection, the communication link of the voice from within. But also that inner scry is also the one that can ask questions and receive answers from within the space. So while it is a space of clarity, it's a space of meditation and reflection for you. And so for today, we have Wisdom of the Oracle coming through, wanting to bring in a reading, an oracle reading for us. What cards want to be represented? So mending is a part of this pop-up. So mending, healing, bringing things together. This is a part of the thread of soul, or the thread of source, that is woven through the collective that reconnects us. Perhaps there's a space of the water fabric that wants to come through, whether this is a connection to the lake, river, oceans, or streams. For right now, it's showing up as the oceanic. So if there's a thread of the ocean showing up, that thread is connecting to you here and now for an important reason. Yin, right? Back to that feminine space, back to that being, back to that space of just receiving. So we're coming into a connection of balancing with our own yin, our own sense of receptivity, our own internal magnetism, and the divine grace of the feminine. There she goes, coming back online, regeneration, a space of healing, a space of re-illumination, a space of bringing the feminine light in to reconnect, to heal, to start again new. You know, this is back to that water phoenix. This is that trying again. It's a part of cycle. Whether this is a birthing cycle, whether this is a, I'm seeing like a 3 to 4 month cycle, there's something about the cycles that are really important. Whether this is honoring your sacred cycle, right? If you're a feminine, honoring that passageway of time. If you're a man, honoring cycles of nature, right? The Fibonacci, the spiral. Either way, regeneration is bringing something back to life from within you. The ignition point, the water phoenix. This is the divine feminine phoenix coming back to life. It's funny because this eclipse has felt backwards. And I state that because if we were to go into a new moon, full moon kind of eclipse, we're looking at that window of from start to finish. And this one went from finish to start. It felt backwards. It was like the introduction to this was all about death. And it's like, it was this energy of death is the beginning and birth is the ending, which is very backwards. But there's something about the cycle and the spirals, the circle of life, that's really important for us in what regeneration represents for us. Boom, there we go. So it looks like whatever went black is turning to light, and we're restoring happiness. It's like this was one part of purge, detoxification, cleansing, and renewal to reignite happiness and joy. It's like we emptied the sacral seat of older creations, older connections, older grids, older past lives, older timelines, to bring in the rejuvenation, happiness, the spirals of forgiveness, the strength to keep carrying on. But then a part of this is what we rest on, what we sit on, what we sit with, the connection to our own inner child. It was really interesting that there's a moment here where I have a lot of, black crystals that I sit with. And my black crystals, while they represent grounding, sometimes represent protection. Like I have a black Andara, and that black Andara always represents like some sort of protection for me. It's something I carry when my inner child doesn't feel safe. I carry it to doctor's appointments. It's something that means a lot to me. It's always been that thing that, once again, it's a thing that used to hide in my pockets, right? It'd be like, it's in my pocket. No one knows that I have this crystal. This is my secret crystal, and a part of that was because there was a concern that if people knew that I had crystals, if people knew that I had protector crystals, I had protector parts of myself, that they would use that against me. They would usurp me, or they would hurt me. And it was interesting. It was just the other day. It was like, I don't need to carry black crystals. I carry white crystals because white is now my protection, right? There was a flip in hue and in color and in bandwidth, recognizing that I can walk with, the color white and feel safe just as with the color black. A part of that was not only like perception and dualism and duality, but it's a part of this springing forward back to what happy is representing, what we sit with. The egg representing back to the womb, creation, and birth. There's the sense of like Gaia's inner child, or this eternal child that is looking up at us and looking up at our joy and happiness and reflecting this. We're becoming one with our own spiritual innocence. We're becoming one with our own spiritual child. We're becoming one with our own language of joy and what happiness represents. I do feel like, for myself, there's still emotions that come to the surface in regards to what it is to be happy here on planet Earth. And I know this is what happens when we're getting out of our lulls, when we're getting out of our low points, when we're getting out of our depressions, is it's that redefinement of life and what happiness represents. While happy is an emotion, and happy can be also seen as a frequency, the dialogue and definition of what that embodiment is and what entails in the action, what entails in our own environment changes. And so it's like, as the source of our own internal happiness comes to fruition, there's something about a bright and vibrant future that invites in a sense of reclaiming what that looks like in our own journey. Just like reclaiming the seeds of happiness from the past doesn't mean the happiness is going to look the same, right? Remember that carryover frequency is sometimes it's that when we carry happiness into all of our cycles, happiness is happiness, but how we embody and live that out changes, because our body, our entire physical structure is changing from the sacred geometrics, from the codes, from the plasmas, from the source flows, right? How we embody that through our own template, through our own emanation changes. So what you do that creates happiness, that makes happiness, the embodiment of happiness, is a part of what we're talking about in the example of these cycle changes. So once again, it's like, is happiness a loop if all we play or want is happiness on our journey? But it isn't when we recognize it's a frequency of embodiment that creates a better space, a better life path for ourselves, and perhaps a better value system into what truly matters. There's a sense of importance here, and a sense of that which is important that really creates a thriving attitude, a thriving structure in our own reality, and a thriving life path for us to keep moving forward into better and better places and better lives. So there is something here about connecting to the spirit of our inner child, the spirit of our water serpent to support that. And it feels like the energy of Hydra, the energy of the sacral, the energy of this water phoenix and this water dragon line coming through, that's reconnecting us back to that mending energy. Is we're mending our happiness. And when I say we're mending our happiness, is we're mending our happy places, which means if there was an energetic or a spiritual or a physical or an emotional address of happiness, and you're merging and bridging to what the next happy space is, that's a part of what's mending. It seems like there's happy times in which in the past we're happy, that would perhaps bring in a sense of nostalgia for ourselves. The reclamation of happiness is that happy moment can be here now, but the definition might change. The people and the surroundings might change. Kind of gives us an opportunity of what it is to embody something, to carry it with us, and to mend versions of happiness in our own journey. So perhaps there's a space of reconnectivity that recognizes that when we connect to the child, even though we're connecting to a child in the past, we're bringing it into the present and bringing to the essence of what the eternal child is. So perhaps the child is no longer the 8-year-old, the 7-year-old, the 6-year-old, the complaining, the abandonment, whatever. There's an eternal happiness, a source aligned happiness, a frequency of happiness that the water dragon is bringing forward to us. Perhaps there's something in your past that you're bringing into this now that's merging, and it's a part of your bridge. It's a part of your toolkit. It's a part of your mending. It's a part of your healing. It's a part of your gift to bridge happiness in the world, bridge happiness in your journeys, or perhaps allowing the embodiment of happiness to evolve, to change, to grow, and to continue to flourish in your flora and in your fauna. So this is about us being able to receive the light of regeneration for better and better days, the light of our soul for better and better days. And for this is a part of this transformative water dragon energy, which is this return to life, this return to light, and this return to hue, right? The return to color, the return to phosphorescence, the return to fluorescence. So when our ignition point comes on, the fires aren't burning through, but they are the light that continues to glow. And it's interesting, while we might see water as an opposite of fire. It's a part of this elemental mixture that is going to keep the glow moving forward. So as our plasmas change, as our light changes, as our water changes, as our flow changes, our optimized routine to give us an opportunity to create more happy spaces, or a better and better thriving outlook, a better and better thriving environment, and a better and better thriving life is giving us an opportunity to move forward, to move ahead into a journey in which we are bridging our happy places. So this is what that higher light connection is. This is what that reconnection to better spaces. This is a part of what that healthy outlook is in our journey. However you choose to see this, happiness is being reconnected, and it is through us being able to come back, dial into that activated space of remembrance in which the nostalgia becomes the now, which as it becomes the present, seeds future and opportunities to continue to grow and to continue to flourish in our own happiness. So may joy, abundance, love, and luck be bestowed upon you. And may the energy of the water dragon show up to support you in your emotional stability, to support you in your love, to support you in your inner child, to support you in your innocence, and to support you in reconnecting back to your happy space. May joy return to all of you. And with that, I'll see you guys soon. Namaste.